Alright, let's sit around the campfire and do some Pythagorean theorem. First things first, the Pythagorean theorem states that a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. A Pythagorean theorem is actually extremely easy. The main thing you have to know is that, well, this will always be, this thing has a lot of names, this thing. It's called the hypotenuse. It's called the hypotenuse. It's referred to as C. It's referred to as the longest side of a triangle. The only thing about Pythagorean theorem you really need to know, I mean, the application is very good, right? You can sort of say that, well, half of, or the Pythagorean theorem times 2, it's equal to a perfect square, and things like that, which is quite nice. But where students usually get confused is by the terminology, right? Which might be tricky at some point. Now, what are these green lines? Well, green lines represent A. It can also represent B. This one represents B, but it can also represent A. The important thing you need to be able to identify is the hypotenuse, right? And the right angle will always be across from the hypotenuse. Very important. This could also be referred to as a leg, and a leg of a triangle. So let's go over one example of the Pythagorean theorem. It's very, very simple to understand. I'm going to switch over to white again. So first things first, we need to know that the Pythagorean theorem only works with right triangles. When you get to a little bit of advanced trigonometry, when you have non-right triangles, you can use some stuff like the law of sine or law of cosine. But for now, let's focus on the Pythagorean theorem, okay? So we're going to say, well, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. In this case, it's very easy to identify our a. We found a. Over here, we found b. So we can say, well, 3 squared plus 4 squared is equal to c squared. Or in this case, let's give our c a name, because now our c has a name, right? The name's x squared. So it's going to give me 9 plus 16 is equal to x squared. If we compute, we have, I'm going to switch my x to the left-hand side. So we have x squared is equal to 25. And if I take the square root of both sides, I get x is equal to plus minus 5. But I can reject the negative value, since we're working with the sides of a triangle. So my final answer will therefore then be 5.